Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Spirit of Creating. And in today's episode, I wanted to talk about the idea of storytelling. And we as humans love telling stories. We tell stories about our past, we tell stories about ourselves, we tell stories to ourselves, and we share those stories with others. And the problem with storytelling is that it creates a format of who we have to be. So we tell our stories and we say, I am really good at maths, but really bad at cooking. I'm really good at giving directions, but I'm terrible at creativity. And in that sentence, it doesn't seem powerful. It just seems like I'm just regaling who I am to you. But it's full of potency and power because we then shape our lives around these stories. And we don't really take those stories to be straitjackets, which they are. They limit us instantly or expand us in the moment, depending on what story we're telling. And it's like if you imagine yourself standing in a circular room and you're surrounded by doors. And as soon as you say a sentence like, I'm really good at giving directions, a door opens. And as soon as you say, I'm really bad at creativity, a door slams shut. And so you're left with half open doors and completely shut doors. Now, these open doors you're willing to explore and expand on. So if I think I'm really good at maths, then I'm open to the concept of exploring more difficult equations. Or when the bill comes, I don't grab my phone to calculate. I have confidence in myself that I'm good at maths, I can work this out. And there's this kind of innate belief we have about ourselves that we're good at something. So if we tell ourselves a story, and I tell myself the story that I'm good at maths, then I'm more likely to explore that area and not limit myself. I have a confidence about it. I'm willing to walk through that door and go further in. But as soon as I tell myself I'm bad at something, I shut that door completely. So if I tell myself I'm not a creative person, I'm not artistic, that door is shut now. And I can't see what beyond it. I can't see what lies beyond. I don't even get to go through the door. And it's all okay if you didn't want to go through that door. But if you have this curiosity and this desire, and you think, I would love to do something creative, but I'm just not very arty, you shut that door and you never get to explore it. And this isn't about creating a better story for ourselves. It's not about me sitting here and saying I'm good at everything so that all the doors stay open and I can go into every single room. It's more about dropping these stories we have about ourselves, because in the end, ultimately, they always limit us. They confine us. And the human brain likes to prove ourselves right. So if I think I'm good at something, I will go out of my way to prove that I am good at that thing I said I'm good at. Just equally as if I say I'm really bad at something, my brain will go to prove how bad I am at it. We want to confirm all the biases we hold all the time, and we want to prove ourselves right. And when we tell stories about ourselves, I think we believe we're creating a sense of stability, security, a foundation, and a grounding. We kind of know who we are. We know our strong points. We know our weak points. And we can kind of navigate this mad, crazy world and get a sense of safety and anchoring within ourselves because we've told ourselves who we are. We've told ourselves what we're good at. So not to venture too far off in that direction because it's not a strong point, and pull ourselves back into what feels safe and familiar. But it's all an illusion. We've just created a story that makes us feel safe in what we think we are and keeps us in familiar surroundings so we don't venture further and maybe fail or fall off a cliff edge. We don't want anything that could be dangerous for us and our egos and our sense of self. So therefore, we create a story and bind ourselves into this story. And it's not real, it's not true. It's just a set of beliefs that we go out to prove over and over again. And the reason we know it's not true is because in certain situations, in states of emergency, if somebody we really love and care for requires something of us that isn't really something we think we could do, in those moments, we find ourselves stepping out of our personalities and adopting and transforming to meet the requirements of that situation, whatever it might be. And so it goes to show that it's not set in stone what we're like, because at a moment's notice, in an emergency situation, we can transform and become a whole other person. Because we can transform and become a whole other person, because who we are can't really be fitted into a mold of one story that we tell ourselves about ourselves. We are full of infinite possibility and potential. And the minute we label ourselves with something, we limit ourselves. So I'm just asking you to explore or experiment with the idea of taking a day or half a day to explore what life looks like when you don't plaster yourself with labels, where you drop the story of who you think you are, you drop the story of your past, you drop the story of your positive traits and negative traits, and you just move in the world and be in the moment and create from a space of that nature. Because that taps in to the infinite potential that you exist in, and it allows you to explore from that place, and you stop closing doors on yourself. Doors can remain open and you're free to explore them. And when it comes to creativity, there's nothing more important than keeping a door open and exploring and not limiting yourself. It just doesn't help when it comes to creativity to limit yourself in any way. You have to give yourself the space to go and play, to fail, to succeed, to then venture further and further down the road. We don't have a limit that we want to hit, that we think, well, I'm here now. I've reached this precipice. I don't want to go any further. We want to be expansive when it comes to our creativity. And storytelling and limiting ourselves does not end up being conducive to the creative process. So as unnerving as it can seem to let go of the stories that we hold about ourselves, that we're so attached to, it's interesting to go and explore and experiment with dropping the stories we have about ourselves, even if it's for a period of time, just to play with and see what life looks and feels like without the labels. And more importantly, see what you can create without all the labels, and what art you can make when you're not busy trying to prove who you are in all those stories that you've created about yourself. Let me know what you think about this episode, and you can email me at illustratingrain@gmail.com, and I shall be back again next week.